In today's video, we are using a Traeger smoker, and we're going to smoke a few things that you might not have thought of to try before, but we want to find out what will happen.
Guys, it is the 4th of July, and you know what that means. Callie's got fire, and we've got new t-shirts available. Get yours now, limited time only.
And I wonder how I get these reputations.
This looks delicious.
Yes, it does. You're gonna hate what we're gonna do with it.
Maybe. That's kind of the experiment. A few days ago, we were talking about smoker grills and whether or not we should, try and use one, get one and stuff. And I was curious because they get hot, kind of like an oven, but they're heating up from smoke. Like it's burning little wood pellets and making smoke, and that's where the heat comes from. I was curious if that same heat could just be used as a baking oven rather than specifically a smoking oven. So
I chose a few things.
We've got a few things here. We've got cake, brownies, cookies, and just some rolls, some biscuits. And we're going to see what happens if we try to bake these desserts in a smoker.
Now for one of these, one of the guys in the studio, Grant Schmidt, has actually told me that baking brownies in a smoker is actually delicious. So I want to find out for myself. Nate chose salted caramel Ghirardelli brownies. That sounds amazing.
I think a little hint of smoke in some salted caramel brownies sounds like a great thing.
I also want to know if Pillsbury, well, just any biscuits in general, are going to be good because they're more savory, so that could be interesting. White cake and cookies, those are going to be a little bit different. How do you think those are going to turn out?
I don't know. This was the first idea, was cake. Can you bake a cake in a smoker?
No, you can. The heat gets up high enough.
It's going to get hot enough, but the question is, what's it going to do? The distribution of the heat may be a little different. I don't think that's going to be a big issue, but really it's just that as this cake expands and fills with air and bubbles, are all of those air and bubbles just going to be really smoke flavored? Is this whole thing just going to taste like the wood pellets that's running the smoker? Or will it still be like, oh, that's a nice vanilla cake? Everything here is supposed to bake between 325 and 350 Fahrenheit, so I think we're just going to kind of put the higher temperature stuff on one end of the grill and the lower temperature stuff on the other end of the grill. And it's gonna be mostly uniform temperature, but I assume there's gonna be a little gradient as it goes from one end to the other.
We'll see.
So we'll go highest heat to lowest heat across the grill.
Here's the basic idea. We have 4 different things that you wouldn't normally bake in a smoker, but we wanna know what will happen, if it will work, and if it's gonna change the flavor. This doesn't really count as baking. This counts as cheap baking. Well, that's not fair. A lot of people use box cake mixes. I actually use these and I doctor them a lot when I'm, fun fact guys, I actually have a side business. I also make wedding cakes and custom boutique cupcakes. It's really fun. Sometimes I will use box cake mixes and I will doctor them up so it makes them a little bit denser, a little bit thicker, and it's pretty great. However, sometimes I like to make things from scratch, but today we're gonna do it this way. It's a little bit easier. So this is a much larger pan than these brownies really need to bake. However, we're hoping that a thinner layer is gonna let them bake faster because these take a lot longer than everything else we're doing today. Not really the best protocol for baking, but we are smoking them, so. All right, so a fun tip, if you're ever baking and you wanna make sure that the cake doesn't have too many bubbles, I don't know about you guys, but a really light, airy cake is nice sometimes, but if you are trying to stack a cake really high, you need it to be a little bit denser. Best thing to do, take your pan, just tap it really gently several times on the counter, like as fast as you can, and it'll help those bubbles rise to the surface and you'll get a bit more of a dense, moist cake. So when you're making a cake, I think adding the egg yolk makes it taste a little bit cakier, a little bit warmer sort of flavor. However, with a white cake, we want to make sure to take it out because that's a lot of color. Here.
Ooh.
Those are ready to go. Whoa!
I didn't push the thing.
Nate did not warn me.
Nate did not know. Nate was about to say, hey, this is gonna pop, and then it popped. We're just gonna go for a pretty direct approach with these biscuits here. We've got plenty of other things testing the baking function. We've got all our food cooking. Our biscuits are a little too close to some direct heat, I think. Whew! It's not your normal biscuit look. Right on that nice greasy grill. Gonna be about 10 minutes for the cookies, The brownies normally would be about 30 to 40, but because we did them really thin and spread out, it might go a little faster. So we'll probably check those 10 minutes after we check the cookies, and then maybe another 10 minutes after that for the cake. The biscuits we'll keep an eye on, given what they were just doing. I think we're just gonna end up with some fairly burned biscuits, but we'll keep you updated. Our biscuits are perhaps a little over roasted. Maybe not, I don't know. They feel like good bread biscuits. Let's take those out. And our cookies need a couple more minutes. Cake and brownies look like they're coming along nicely though. Maybe a little too quick, but brownies gotta burn. The corners really get extra heat. I think those are probably gonna be ready to come out soon. The cake has a spot where it's burned, like it's overcooked brown in one corner already. I wanna try a cookie. A little bit of gooiness on the bottom. Seems nice on the top.
Cookies?
Cookies.
Yeah.
They seem to have a different texture.
That could be because we cooked them in a barbecue or baked them.
You get any of the smoke?
Very, very faintly. You know, I feel like it absorbed into the chocolate more than anything.
Interesting. The oil might hold on to it.
I like that. So normally I'm not a cookie fan. Yes, I bake, but I don't care for cookies for some reason. These are like sort of they almost have a bitter flavor, but I really like it.
All right, we've got brownies. The great debate.
I also don't care for brownies. Okay, that's done. But, got it.
Smells quite good.
That smells amazing.
While the cake cools down, try brownies. So I personally like edge pieces and corner pieces.
No.
I know there's like a battle about this.
You can like it, but you're wrong.
I love when people disagree with me because it means I'm not in competition with them to get the edge and corner pieces.
That is fair. I will take a gooey middle piece. First off, the smell. Again, less sweet though. Consistency still feels about the same. I can absolutely taste the smokiness in that. A little bit of a bitter aftertaste, but when it hits your tongue and you're breathing, you can kind of smell and taste that wood smoke flavor. That's really cool.
You can smaste it.
I can smaste the wood smoke flavor.
I like that. That's a good brownie. This
really
part
good.
is not good.
Nope.
This part was roasty toasted.
Onto our vanilla cake. That looks like the right color. It is concerning that some of these corners not corners, but some of these edges brown just a little more than I would normally expect.
It's a very thin.
Looks right.
Yeah, that fluffed up quite nicely.
I can definitely smell the smoke in this one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, definitely.
Much stronger.
Yep.
It doesn't actually smell like something that you, like, I smell that and I don't think like, ooh, that smells good. I'm just like, that's a vanilla cake smell?
All right, let's see. It's not though, it's a white cake. That is a smoked vanilla cake. I absolutely am getting the smoked flavor in this.
I need to try eating this when I'm not standing in the path of the smoke. Yeah.
Yep.
I was afraid the smoke was gonna clash with it. I mean, maybe it's because I was imagining like a mesquite smoke, but we did a hickory and apple instead. So it works with it pretty well.
What flavors did you get today?
Hickory and apple, and I mixed the two together.
Okay, so guys, when we did this experiment today, we were going into this fully thinking that these were gonna be disgusting. We were gonna be like, gross, why did we do this? Except for the brownies, because we did hear those would be delicious. I would recommend this. Like, I would say turn down the heat a little bit, especially if you're using such, cheap pans. This is actually really good.
I would say the key is to not cook 4 things at once.
Yes.
The edges of our smoker get really hot. In the middle, it stays pretty normal, I think. And so if you just had like one in the middle, I think it'd work pretty well.
Yeah. Can you bake sweet things in a Traeger?
Yes, and it actually turned out nice. Like
it did.
The cake picked up the smoke flavor the most, I think.
This was the most shocking to me. The white cake. We did this one thinking, oh, this is gonna be awful. This is so good.
You can smoke a cake, and it turns out pretty good.
Yeah. Guys, that's not all. You know we've always got more for you to see. Go ahead and click that box up at the top to see our latest video, and we'll talk to you in the next one. See you then.